Hey everybody, it's Kevra. It's me, I'm Kevra, and don't worry, I'm not some crazy conspiracy theorist. I'm a normal conspiracy theorist. Ever since they announced Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC, I've had some theories about the expansion pack, and I think what happened this week completely ties in with what I've been saying. But right now, I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself, so let's go back and talk about what transpired this week. On Wednesday, Nintendo announced that Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was getting bumped up from a September release date to a July release date. Now, some people saw this and they thought, oh, Xenoblade Chronicles 3 is getting done earlier than expected, so they're giving it to us early. Bless your little heart. To be young and naive and not understand business. Or apparently scheduling. Then there were those of us who saw the bigger picture. Bumping Xenoblade Chronicles up meant bumping something else back. Now, it could have potentially been a lot of different titles, but considering the fact that Splatoon 3 had a release date window of summer and they hadn't given us an exact date yet, I think most of us assumed it was Splatoon 3. And 2 days later, Nintendo confirmed it by announcing Splatoon 3 had been pushed back from a summer release to September 9th. Actually, the last day of summer is technically September 22nd, so this game came out exactly when Nintendo always intended it to. No, it wasn't gonna come out 13 days before. That is not what they did. Don't even try that. But the thing that no one predicted was that we would also get Splatoon 2 DLC along with this announcement. Now, some people saw this and assumed, oh, that makes total sense. They were giving us Splatoon 3 information, so why not just go ahead and drop this information as well? Perfect timing. And you know what? That's a reasonable conclusion. Other people sat there thinking, well, because we had to get Splatoon 3 delayed, they added the Splatoon 2 expansion pack so the fans would take the news of a delay a little bit easier. That also sounds reasonable. You see where this is going, right? Like there's a big giant butt coming. Like butt so big, it puts Kim Kardashian, Nicki Minaj, and Chris Farley all to shame. Like that's how big of a butt we're talking. Should I go ahead and do the butt? I feel like I should go ahead and do the butt. But while either one of those theories could have been true, I think the reason Splatoon 3 was delayed is because of the expansion pack. Now, don't be clicking off the video. I know it sounds a little bit strange, but it's about money. Sales for Splatoon 2 have drastically dropped off. And whenever Splatoon 3 finally drops, if a person hasn't bought in Splatoon 2 yet, they likely aren't going to when Splatoon 3 comes out, because if they have a choice between Splatoon 2 and Splatoon 3, they're gonna go with Splatoon 3 simply because of the fact that it's newer and because it's an online multiplayer game, and that's where majority of people will be at. And there's probably a lot of people who are thinking, I never played a Splatoon game before, but Splatoon seems to be really popular and everyone seems to be hyped about the third one, so I'll just wait and get the third one when it comes out. Like, if they had not delayed Splatoon 3 and they released Splatoon 2 DLC today, I doubt many people would go out and get Splatoon 2 because it's just a few months away that Splatoon 3 is coming out. But if you announce that the free DLC is in the expansion pack and you already own the expansion pack, and you see that Splatoon 3 is getting delayed, maybe you're just gonna go ahead and get Splatoon 2 because you already have the expansion pack, and that DLC you've heard is really good is now for free on the expansion pack. And since you were gonna get Splatoon 3 but now it's been delayed, you might as well go ahead and get Splatoon 2 since Splatoon 3 is no longer just around the corner. And that's how Nintendo gets its last sales bump for Splatoon 2 before it dies when Splatoon 3 finally comes out. Now, I'm not saying that absolutely no one is going to buy Splatoon 2 after Splatoon 3 comes out. There are always going to be those people, especially if you really love Splatoon 3. I mean, maybe you want to go back and see what the old one was like. But since there's such a big emphasis on online multiplayer, it's a very small margin of people who would actually buy the old one and go back and play online on that one. Now, of course, this could just be one giant coincidence, but considering the fact that it seems so strategic that the game got delayed the same day that the old game's DLC got announced to the expansion pack, I feel like this was absolutely done on purpose. Especially because I feel like back in February when they told us it was gonna have a summer release, the development team probably would have known about that time if they could have made a July release date. Now since then, maybe they've run into some technical problems, or maybe they came up with a new idea that they just needed a few more months to implement into the game. But considering the fact that this delay and this DLC announcement could potentially lead to an increase in Splatoon 2 sales, just feels a little bit too strategic to me. Now, the optimist in me thinks that this was kind of a last-minute audible that they decided. They realized that Splatoon 3 needed a little bit extra time, and they went ahead and took advantage of this moment by adding DLC for Splatoon 2, which they were gonna do anyway. The slightly more cynical part of me believes that Splatoon 3 did not need a delay, and this was a strategy that they figured out very recently, and they were able to pull off this last-minute call because Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was already ready to go. Then the super cynical part of me actually worries that back in February, when they told us it was gonna release in summer, they knew all along they were gonna release it in September, but they said summer. That way, whenever they announced the DLC coming to the expansion pack, they would also be able to say, it's delayed, so you might as well get Splatoon 2 right now. Now, you're probably sitting there thinking, this is absolutely absurd. There is no way a company would do this. I mean, a company's whole entire goal is to make as much money as they possibly... Oh crap, I walked into that. Now, I of course don't have any proof that this is what happened. I am simply theorizing, and again, it feeds into what I've been saying about the expansion pack in some of my other videos. Especially when it comes to the multiplayer aspect, because I keep telling people that the alluring thing about putting multiplayer stuff in the expansion pack is because people always want to play with their friends. Like sure, they could have put the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 DLC in here, but you could potentially just borrow Xenoblade Chronicles 2 from a friend, but you can't do that with a multiplayer game because you and your friend both have to have a copy if you want to play online together. Then there's also the fact that Xenoblade Chronicles is a story adventure game, so you're gonna go back and play those other titles after you play the new one to get more of the story. But for Splatoon, if you're just playing online with friends, you're not gonna get sucked back into the older games. And that's why I think Mario Party Superstars DLC is going to get announced in a summer direct. Okay, if you're a subscriber, you absolutely should have seen that coming. I mean, I've been talking about Mario Party Superstars DLC for like 5 months straight, and now I've been talking about the expansion pack for like the last 2 months. It was gonna tie in together. It was gonna be brought up. But I've already done a bunch of videos on Mario Party Superstars DLC, so I'm not gonna touch on that topic. Instead, I'm gonna end the video right here. Make sure to like, dislike, comment on the video, all that stuff. And if you wanna see more stuff like this, make sure you subscribe. I got a lot of videos planned. I don't know when I'm gonna get to them because I'm moving over the next couple months, but I do have something that kind of ties in with what I talked about in this video. It's a video called People Say Nintendo is a Greedy Company, which is absolutely true, but also an incredibly stupid thing to say. So if you wanna see that video, or if you wanna see any of my other content, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Otherwise, I'll catch you next time.